Good evening, folks. Welcome to another edition of Grumpy Old Spurs. Dave, what should we talk about?
I don't know.
Can you hear,
Much
can
been
you hear
going
me?
on?
Were you on mute then?
No.
Just said,
Can you
Dave.
hear me
What?
now?
Yeah, well, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. You're a little bit behind, but I just said, Dave, have we got plenty to talk about tonight? What do you think we should talk about? Froze, ain't you, mate? Dave's having technical issues
I don't know,
once
actually.
again.
I mean, we can talk about the fact that we've got 10 days. Have I tried?
Yeah, you don't seem to have these issues when you're on the phone to talk sport, mate. And then you come on here with me and we've got all kinds of technical difficulties
Can you hear me
going on.
now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now,
So
Dave.
there's not much to talk about, really. I mean, we've got 10 games. We've got 10 games to the next game. So, not much to talk about. Can you think of anything? Should we talk about the Super Bowl?
Well, I only watched the first half, mate, and then I went to bed.
Should we talk about the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I was knackered on the Super Bowl, but let's go through some of these messages. 12 people currently watching live. Got this big news. So I think we may as well just get into it, Dave. Thomas Frank, sacked this morning. I put on Talk Sport when I saw it come up on my phone. And then I heard Jim White basically saying, we're having on Dave from Australia. So what were your initial thoughts when you found out the news, mate?
Well, I was basically, I was out at pub Chris and we just got home, and then I heard the news that he's gone, and then after that I rang up Talk Sport, and then we basically and I think that we should have got rid of him since the West Ham game. I get that we had the Dortmund game a day after that, but then we should have got rid of him after the Dortmund game. And I just think that we're in big trouble. I mean, I think it's quite interesting because me and you and Connor and Leon, about this time last March, we did a show during the international break when we went through all the possible managerial appointments. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And all of us said, let's get Frank in.
Correct.
We all said let Frank in. We discussed the fact that we felt everything's a reaction to everything, right? So you and Leon, the Ange Undertakers, got what you wished for. Yeah. And basically we have a situation. We said tactically he's good, changes things in games, good manager, has improved players, you've seen that, and creates a good culture. And we'll get on to other issues and other blame for other things as well. Because again, let's not forget, this is another ENIC manager that's gone. I mean, how many times have you and I done these things over the years when the manager's gone? Far too many. But at the end of the day,
annually,
he is, annually, and he has failed. There's lots of talk about a manager stepping up, making the transition from a lower down the table club to a big club, and there's a number of examples where it's failed, right? But he just, I think his communication with the fans has been appalling. I think the club. So if you remember with Poch, he used to have the head of comms, Simon Felstein, next to him, right? I just think this club are more than happy to let the man hang them out to dry. And I know that's normal in England and things like that. But he has made massive. It's communication wise. When you start talking about a true fan, you're going to go down. No, Tim Sherwood, you're going down a slippery slope. And I think its substitutions in games has been appalling. I think when Van der Ven and Spence did that thing on the pitch, I'd have dropped them. And so I just think that. And also the fact of the matter is we are in big trouble. I think we got a very good chance of getting relegated. Anyway, what do you reckon, Gibbo?
Yeah, I agree with you on the relegation thing. And when he came in, all the things you've just spoken about, I think I sort of believe that, and I think quite a few other people did. But hindsight is obviously, as they say, a wonderful thing. And you sort of look at it now, and it was a massive part of what made it appealing. Obviously, was the environment that he'd been working in at Brentford, wasn't it? When you look at it now, it's a system. It's the culture at Brentford, how they do it, and that helps them do what they want. Obviously, as you go through the internet over on socials and stuff, as the day progresses, we're getting more and more coming out now from your journalists who are close to the club. And it seems like behind the scenes, I think he was just struggling. I don't want to say the magnitude of the club or the magnitude of the job, making it seem that we're bigger than we are. I mean, we are a decent sized club, but I just think it seems from very, very early on, he struggled with like the size of the club, the weight of expectation, the standards, with players who, good players with massive egos who are not as good as they think they are, which there's a lot of those in football, I should imagine. Tottenham have got a lot of those, dealing with those people. Not discipline, not sort of having that, for whatever you say about Ange, I think people did respect him as a person. I don't think Frank I don't feel he ever got that. Decisions like, when you look at it back now and you think Romero being the player he is, great player, but making him the captain. Just basically a lot of the same old shit that's gone on at Spurs, really. But I thought all the things you said about him, I thought, that's what we'll see. But really, after a couple of games, we didn't see any of it, did we? And he has had some injury issues. Lots of people do, and it has got worse. But I just feel that like he definitely should have gone after the West Ham game. And today, when I've sat back and I've thought about it, after that, they've sort of, West Ham was bad and they were talking about contingency plans, but they kept him in place. And it comes to today, the night after the Newcastle game, and they sack him this morning, and it's like, we want to know by Monday. The players got 5 days off. They're working through these what they're going to do. So I'm thinking to myself then, bigger picture here, and this is like, so they've had all the warning signs, decided not to go against it, not to go with it, they've decided to stick with it. And it got to last night, and that must have been the straw that broke the camel's back. But they must have made that decision like that. Because there's like, when we got rid of Poch, Mourinho was waiting. When we got rid of Nuno, Conte was waiting. I know that's circumstances, but they must have just done that today, thinking we've got 10 days or whatever before the next game. They still didn't have the contingencies, even though this has been going on for a while. It's just madness. The running of the football side of the club is absolutely shambolic, isn't it? Shambolic. Agreed? Disagree?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have been saying in the last few weeks that, but I see a lot of people have been saying over the last few weeks he would have sacked him by now. Levy would have sacked him ages ago, right? And maybe there's some merit in that. But the fact of the matter is, everyone goes, the thing about Levy is he knows when he made a mistake and he'll sort it out quickly, right? But why make a mistake in the first place? Yeah. And so the thing is this, is that, when I did 5.5 minutes of the 7 minutes of that Langer thing, and then I stopped because I've had enough, right? But when he starts talking about the fact that we've got players coming back, players will be coming back from injury, right? He says, well, we decided not to get, we're only looking for the medium to long term. We've got players going to be coming back from injury. And I'm sitting there watching, mate, we are in a relegation dogfight. Yeah. So the short term is sort out us not getting relegated this season. Yeah. It's pure and simple. That's the short term, because we got a short term problem, right? You know, we could be the only team in the world that actually plays a weakened team in the Champions League and the strongest team in the Premier League, and because we want to stay in the Premier League next season, right? And so the fact that even that Dane Scarlett's gone out alone. Now, I don't rate Dane Scarlett. I don't think he's going to make it. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Yeah, but the fact of the matter is this: is that Dane Scarlett is a body. Yeah. What is going on? Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, you do keep breaking up a bit, Dave, and going a bit funny. But yeah, I can hear you, but you do keep breaking up a bit. But yeah, you're right, Dave. What I know exactly what you're saying.
That's a normal thing for me. But yeah.
But I just think like we are in danger of going down. We don't have the bodies, and it's like Langer saying we're not going to make. Did he say stress buys, which is like his version of panic buys? And it's like, but we are in a panic, aren't we? We are literally fighting relegation. So maybe now is the time to buy panic buys. Like, there's nothing wrong with getting a 6-month loan deal. They're here for 6 months. We know they're here for 6 months, but it's just to get us through this short period of time. But Dave, I think they just used to go game to game, hoping that he'd get a result. Every game, I bet it was like, oh, just please today get a result. And I think they thought if we can get a result against Newcastle, we've got 10 days and we can sort of dampen the fires a bit, and then we'll probably lose to Arsenal. But if we lose to them, if we can just get through the 2 days after and then quiet the noise down, then we can go again. And and that's how it seems they were living, like day to day. But absolute farce. But personally, mate, I think he had to go in the end, didn't they? It weren't even the result as well last night. It was the performance as well. Horrendous.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the start, right? So you look at the Super Cup, okay? And so he plays a system where we all went, yeah, well, that makes sense. He's playing against PSG, and with 5 minutes to go, we were 2 up, 1 up, 2 up, right?
2 up,
and he makes the subs. The subs tell whoever else just not good enough, and we lose it, right? And then you go to Burnley, and he rotates, and he has Bergvall and Gray in the middle, who play with. I think that's possibly the last time that Bergvall played in his right position, which is the number 8. Yeah. And we played some pace and movement. Even Richarlison scored some good goals. Yeah. And then basically, and then we had the City away game, which was a textbook Frank away, and we played how you wanted to play, and that was it. And then really after that, I think, the Bournemouth game, where it's a situation where basically, if the onus was on us to play front foot attacking football against the teams who did a low block, we didn't have a clue, right? And I don't think he just never ever worked that out. I think that we had a glaring issue, that we did not have someone to play left up top, right? Now, you and I both agree that Sonny should have been sold two or so years ago, right? I can see one former colleague on our channel said on another YouTube, even bringing out Sonny this week about, just besotted. And we didn't buy anyone. We didn't buy anyone, right? And that was a glaring gap. And then the whole thing about stacking Levy after the transfer window is shut, the writing was on the wall for Levy when Binay came in, even when Terrington came in. So why they wait until after the transfer window? It's the decision making by this ownership, whether it's the Lewis family or Terrington or whatever, is that I don't trust them to make the right decision now, which I think will still lead us to relegation. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. Right? No. Because sure as eggs is eggs. If Frank goes, Langer's got to go.
Oh, Dave, 100. How Langer is even still in the job? It's beyond me, and it's probably beyond him as well. But like, I'm with you. I think an interim appointment, and if it's an interim appointment of some stature, which is going to be tough to do, I think we got a chance. I think we there's a good chance we'll get out of it. But I think if it's just a Heitinger or a Brian Mason, I think we'll go down. I can't see us. We need a real shot in the arm, a real sort of like somebody to come in and like, look, this is what we're doing. This is the way we're going. I know I've only got these players, got players coming back. This is what we're going to do. You need to book your ideas up. We all need to knuckle down. If you're not interested, I'll play a couple of kids or whatever, but I need 11 people on this pitch fighting for me. And these are the standards. And you turn up on time and you do this, blah, 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 blah. That's what we need. If we sort of continue thinking we just need to get through to the end of the season and hopefully we'll stay up, we got no chance. Because we have dropped like a stone. There is no belief. We don't score goals. We can't defend. And like you said, the transfer window was like, I mean, it comes back to Frank, doesn't it? The whole thing, like, oh, we really tried for Semenyo, and it's like, well, if you tried for Semenyo and they said no, we were always told that there was like a list, and we worked our way down the list. But it is, yeah, I think that there's dramas all over the place, mate, and I've got a real horrible feeling that we've sunk like a stone, and I don't think we'll be able to get ourselves out of it. So the appointment we need to make needs to be extremely savvy, and I don't trust them to make savvy decisions. I don't think we've got like you weren't a fan of Paratici, but I think at least he knew a bit about football. He had some sort of, he'd been in the game. He'd been in the game at a decent level with Juventus, but he knew football, Dave. I know you weren't keep, but he did know stuff. You know, he knew about the game and probably how things panned out without looking at data, just feelings and stuff about the game. And I don't think we've got that. I'll tell you what I'd say, Phil. Absolutely not. That would be one that. What would he do? What would Dave like? This is that the type of interim you think we should be looking at?
No, I hate Tim Sherwood. No. What would I say to Tim Sherwood? 2 words, one more. All right. I'm smiling when you mentioned Paratici. Do you know why I'm smiling?
Go on.
Okay. The reason why I'm smiling is because I want you to think about this, right? In September, they had that or was it October? They had that ludicrous couch interview with Sherwood, not Sherwood, Paratici and Langer. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And Vinay's going on about in a separate interview. Vinay is going on about that he wants them to disagree on stuff. He wants them to challenge each other. He wants them to challenge me. And then it would appear that Paratici said that Frank's got to go. We've got to get rid of Frank. And so what's happened is that Paratici's gone, and now Frank's gone, and that is farcical. Farcical.
Well, apparently, yeah. Apparently, Vinay went to the board last night and recommended that he be sacked, didn't he? And then the board agreed and let him go. But then surely the board would go in, hang on, Vinay. We brought this up after the West Ham game, and you and Johan told us to keep him. You were the ones who fought for him. And now, so many weeks later, you know, surely there's no accountability anywhere, is there? Like, they've had to sack this guy. They had the 30-point whatever shit they did, and they had 30 fucking different points that they said, and he came out on top. I mean, like him and Langer, are they going to be held under the microscope. I mean, what an absolute waste of space that bloke. I never watched that interview. I won't watch an interview with him, man. He's as beige as these walls behind me, mate. He's absolutely terrible. But yeah, I just think the whole Frank thing, I think more will come out. But yeah, I think it just the whole place, the job was just too much for it. He reminded me of a kid's football coach clapping every last night. Corner, brilliant. Throw in, well done. You've had a shot, even though it's gone 50. Well done. Super, super proud of the players all the time, yet nothing else is happening. I just think, and these decisions should have been made ages ago. They were desperate not to sack him because I think it would have made them out look like he was their first appointment, and they've let it go on too long. And I think now they need to make a big appointment, and I'm not sure. I think it probably will be an interim, and I know what everybody wants, but I think they've got to try and make it happen now, Dave. What do you think on the next step?
Well, I mean, I think, the awful feeling that I think both you and I have is that, and there's plenty of examples of this over the years, is that we've left it too late, right?
Yeah.
I can think of Shearer going in at Newcastle. I can think of Allardyce went in somewhere for the last 5 or 6 games somewhere. I can think of Dyche. They got rid of him at Burnley, didn't they? I thought they got rid of Dyche before Burnley went down, right? And I have an awful, awful feeling that we are facing into the nightmare that is the Gooners winning their first league title in God knows how many years, and us getting relegated. And I'm not joking, right? I'm not joking. This is 1998
I think people
all
are with
over
you now,
again.
Dave.
And as I said to you last week, in 1998, but in 1998, Ginola, it was Ginola who kept us up. Less Klinsmann, Ginola, right? Someone who had magic to get us to where we were and what we needed. We don't have that.
Klinsmann wasn't good enough, right? Dave. Klinsmann wasn't good that year. I know what you're saying, but he knew where the back of the net was,
wasn't.
Didn't he?
He was not.
But he knew he obviously proved he
yes and no.
But that's what I'm saying. We haven't got that. We haven't got the.
We don't have.
We haven't got the we haven't got the ammunition, and we haven't got the person to fire the. Do you know what I'm saying? We haven't got either or.
Okay.
We haven't got
I get what you're saying, Dave, but I get what you're saying. I get the comment, right? But we, where are we now? I mean, it's when he plays Conor Gallagher on the right side of midfield last night, and we're not talking about last night's game because it was just absolute joke, right? But we're now facing into a situation where we've got a threadbare squad and a bunch of kids, right? All the players that we sent out on loan, who I've still got my doubts about a lot of them. At least they're getting a bit of experience out there. We didn't bring any of them back in January. I don't know if we could or we couldn't, right? And at the same time, we didn't go out and get some emergency players for 6 months. So this is what we have, right? We've got to find. We went through the fixture list last week and we said Newcastle's one we got to win, but that's gone now. But we said we didn't think that we get a point against City, right? So what we got left now? We've got Forest at home, Palace at home, Brighton at home. Yeah,
Leeds at home.
Have we got Leeds at home? Or have we played them?
Yeah, those are the 4 massive home games now.
They are relegation 6-pointers, which I find just scandalous. 2 years running, we are talking about this, right? So what will happen is that if I don't think it's going to happen. What would be great what I would like to happen, it's not going to happen, is that they get a truckload of cash out, plonk it on Klopp's table, and go, Klopp, come to Tottenham and sort it out, right? That's what I'd like.
He's not coming to Tottenham, mate.
That's what I'd like. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. That's a dream. I know that, but that's the dream. But you look at dreams, right? So I look at a dream of Klopp, right? Or Alonso. Yeah. Alonso. I think he's waiting for Liverpool.
Yeah.
So that's the dreams. Yeah. De Zerbi. Let's talk about De Zerbi, right? You bring in De Zerbi, me and you will be having this conversation again in 12 to 18 months after he's blown up. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, Dave,
Seriously,
you're right.
right?
Just
So-
before you carry on, and you can caveat this with all the stuff, and I'll agree with you. I really like De Zerbi. I think he's a good coach, and I think short term he probably would come in and give the kick up the arse that's needed. But you are right. Him and this board and this ownership and likes of Lang and Vinay would be a match made in hell, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this is an interesting theory. This is an interesting theory, if I can bring it up. Where's Bielsa now?
I'm not sure. Let me look it up. I don't think he's doing anything.
Where's Bielsa
Dave.
now?
But you know.
So here's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting theory. You get him in as an interim manager. He's Poch's big mate. And then he does a handover and he might stay on working with Poch next season. That's an interesting theory.
He's the current manager of the Uruguay national team, mate.
Oh, that's that then. Is he going? Are they in the World Cup?
Yeah, conversation over, Dave. Move on.
That's that then. Move on. Right. So anyway, right. So okay. So let's De Zerbi. Okay, let's look at De Zerbi. Right. If he was coming in tomorrow, I think that if I look at all the alternatives that we've to get someone in, he's the best here. Yeah. But you can forget about Pot in the summer. There is no way De Zerbi's going to. If you said to De Zerbi, come in for 6, you've got 5 months. Let's see how we get on with each other. And if you keep us up, we will give you, I don't know, 10 million quid. Do you fancy it? He might do it on that basis. Yeah? He might do it on that basis. Or he goes, I'm not doing that. And I would, and then you get De Zerbi in on a 2 to 3 year contract, knowing it's all going to black up. It's all going to blow up. And then you get him in, but then you say goodbye to Poch.
Yeah.
But De Zerbi will blow up the place.
100%, mate. 100%. When you look at I'm just going to go through the names on here, Dave, of the betting. You've got De Zerbi, top, 2-1. We've discussed him. Heitinger, second at 3-1. Then you got Poch, Robbie Keane, Ryan Mason, Silva, Glasner, Amarim, Iriola, Southgate, Maresca, Xavi Hernandez, who people come up with randomly now and then. Yeah, lots of jobs have come up and he's never seems to get offered it or never, it's just a name that comes up. Then you're looking down in the 30s. You've got like Rangnick, Simeone, Rodgers, Conceição, Carsley, Terzic. I mean, really, I think the only manager that we can entice who is probably at the level we want to sort of get to that would come is probably Poch. And I don't think he's going to leave America, the USA national team, before the World Cup. But I think if that's what you're hoping and you're going to put an interim in, I discussed this with you before, I think you've got to be saying, right, we need to announce that you're not renewing your contract and that you are going to be Tottenham manager after the World Cup. We need some little bits and pieces of work doing behind the scenes to prepare, but we need to have that people know you're coming, and then we can put an interim in, and hopefully we can just concentrate on the job at hand short term or something like that. But I think that is the only way, Dave, for me personally at the minute. I think by doing something like that, or I don't even know if they could say to him, look, could he just come in and do these like so many games for us? I don't know if they could do that. But I think interim. I think we've got just as much chance of going down with an interim as we have with Thomas Frank, if it's just someone who was involved in his coaching staff. And I think the only permanent
Okay, so you don't. Okay,
I think
so
the
you know
only
what?
permanent solution is Pochettino at the minute.
But Pochettino, you're not going to get him. So if Pochettino, are you saying pay America 60 million quid or something to get him now? Is that what you're saying?
How much? 16 million. Is that what the release clause
Apparently.
is? I think, mate, desperate times, desperate measures.
Yeah.
They didn't spend that kind of money in the January transfer window from our war chest. I think if that's what it needs, if that's what it takes, mate, like you said, Dave, how much is it going to cost them if they go down?
A lot.
Exactly. So what would you do?
A lot.
I know you said in the ideal world, the dream would be Klopp or Alonso, but in the real world, then, what are you thinking in the real world?
In the real world, I mean, you know, this is the problem, because if we'd have sacked him 4 weeks ago, I think we'd have had a bit more optionality of what we could have done on an interim basis or otherwise, right? But now it's like we've got this issue where I mean, let's talk about Poch for a minute, right?
Yeah.
You know, Poch has not exactly set the world on fire since he left us. Okay, he has not. Right? PSG, he won league, he won a cup with PSG, right? And then I think that lasted how long? A year and a half, 2 years. He couldn't make it work, and then he went. Then he went to Chelsea, and I think he's interviewed for at least once or twice with Man United, and they've never given him the job, have they? And so he went to Chelsea, and he finished strongly at the end of the season, having to deal with a lot of players. And I was asking a Chelsea fan about him, and they said, you know, I said, I was surprised you got rid of him because he was an upturn. He goes, we had far too many injuries. And if you remember, with that team, he ran them into the ground of the training sessions. It was all about the press intensity and things like that. And because he wore out that team, because Levy didn't buy any replacements for a year and a half, then we were screwed, right? And I just think, all I'm saying with Poch coming back, bear in mind, if he's going to come back and play the same way, which is press intensity and run them into the ground, well, look at the injury record in the last 2 years of that squad. And look, I don't know, there's something going on there, right? I don't know whether it's the training pitches, I don't know whether it's out the pitch or anything like that. I'd be interested to see the stats on where we get the injuries, more at home or more away, or maybe there's nothing in it, right? But you bring Poch into the ground, we've got a shitload of injuries, very bad injury record. So that's kind of where that is. And if Poch comes in now, what is the guarantee that he's going to arrest us and keep us from being relegated? Yeah.
Yeah, there's no guarantee, is there? But look, I think where we are, and we are pretty much rock bottom, pretty much where we are. Now, what you first of all got to start, there's a disconnect between, that's the buzzword, and I always hate using buzz. So there's like a disconnect between the fans and the club. Ultimately, you get him back in, and as Sully said here, Poch would unite the club. That's a positive. We need that. No matter who comes in, that's something we definitely need. Absolutely. Now, would he, if he hasn't got the players to do the press that he wants to do, he won't do it. Now, he said on that high performance podcast that he feels he's a better manager and he's coached differently and he's had different. Who knows? But when you go through the managers, Dave, there's not a fat lot out there. There is not a fat lot out there. And first and foremost, we need to stay up. We need the fans behind the team. We need the players to be playing for someone that maybe will command a little bit more respect from. And I thought at Chelsea, like the players who he had that keep getting injured are the same players that are still getting injured at Chelsea now. I'm not dismissing our injury record or the injury record he had at Chelsea or whatever, but I think there's lots of clubs have lots of injured players now. Whether it's the amount of games they're being asked to play, how physical the game is, like I mean, and I mean in terms of physically demanding the game is. I don't know, but Poch, is he top? No. Is he a shit manager? No. Is he a better manager than we've recently had? And would he be coming in at an ideal time where he could take us forward? Yes. So I don't see, the only downside will be at some point, if it goes tits up again, it goes tits up. But that's the risk you take with every manager. At the minute, I just think I've always said I don't think you should go back. I do not think that going back for a second stint, not just Pochettino, lots of coaches work. But I think we are just at that point where that's what we need. Like if someone like Redknapp was 20 years younger, then I'd have Redknapp back. Because what he did when he just simplified it, when he came to Tottenham that time, he just simplified it and we got on with it. But, like he's ridiculously too old to do the job now. And so, like, I know what you're saying about Pochettino, but sometimes you've got to look at where we are, what we need to do, what's important. And it's like we just need to win games, Dave, and we need a good fit. What we don't need is toxicity. We literally need everybody pulling together. And I think he could do that. But the major stumbling block is obviously wait until after the World Cup. We're in such a predicament, mate. I think there's a few definite right things, but I think the majority of things we're damned if we do. The majority of the options we've got are damned if you do, damned if you don't. So what? And with a board and management team that
can you turn
none
off
of
the
us have got
laptop,
any
please?
faith in. So, what we got here? What's Dave saying? An interim.
Yeah, I think the thing with Poch, right? I think the thing. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with Poch, right, is that we are in a situation where I look at Poch. Okay, now on principle, I think a coach going back for the second time, it very, very rarely works. Okay, it very rarely works. And I think that, you got to bear in mind, at least the Champions League final run papered over a load of cracks, right? Because we paid the price for not buying anyone for 12 months. And that summer, before the Champions League final, we had 13 players involved in the World Cup semi-final stage. They didn't all play, but they were in that tournament till deep, right? And we didn't have any players. It was high intensity. We didn't win away from home for months and months and months, right?
Absolutely.
And so the Champions League run, which we all loved and enjoyed, papered over a lot of cracks. We kind of fluked our way through, right? And I think that really and ultimately, he did not get us over the big games. The first time that I had doubts about Poch, and I loved Poch, because what I loved about Poch is he made us believe again, and he made us believe again, and he made us feel good about our club, which we had not done in years and years. Okay.
Yeah.
Redknapp, yes. There's sure be. So that's what I love about it. But that Man United season,
Dave, your computer is
again.
having an absolute stinker, mate. You are really glitching, mate.
Have I gone out again?
Well, it's not that you were just really glitching. You were just sat with a silly face, frozen on the computer. Do you want to carry on with your rant now?
Right, I'm gonna just go on my. All right, you do a lot of comments, right? I'm gonna go and do this on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's finish it off on your phone. Let's have a look. Let's have a look what we got then. So, right, Kerry.
I'll do the phone. You do the comments.
Yeah. I'm just going to go through this while you're switching over. Kerry, Poch always said it needed a So the thing, my view on Poch, I don't know what you guys think. My view on Poch was that in the end, it felt like him and Levy were in a loveless marriage. I think he'd been burnt out. He probably should have quit after the Champions League. And they were just like no manager, not many managers. Maresca did, but not many managers now just knock it on the head and say, look, I've got to leave. They wait for the payout. That's probably what he did. But I just felt like it got to a point where he couldn't give any more. He had flirted with other clubs a bit, but it just came to its sort of, there was a point where it should have come to a natural end, but we just let it carry on a little bit more. And we shouldn't have. So, yeah, but I mean, I think it's the way forward. What else we got here? Biggest fear is Man United would have to be there.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, and you don't seem to be glitching, Dave. I was just going through the comments, trying to find things about Poch, but now you're back. You can carry on with your rant.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi, and I can't see the comments. Right, Poch. Okay, I loved him. He made us believe again. Yeah, we agree on that. I think that he turned some players who were at the club who were good players, right?
Yeah.
We had players at that club who he improved, right? He had Walker and Rose, who weren't doing very well under AVB and Sherwood. You had Vertonghen, who, as we all said, gave up when he was playing for Sherwood. You had Dyer, who he turned into a central defensive midfielder. You had Kane, who he improved a lot of players, okay?
Yeah.
And his first job was to get us tune out the Beatles, if you remember. And pretty soon, after a dodgy start, he got rid of the old guard, had the kids, and off we went. Okay?
Well, he had to get rid of the old guard, Dave, because their attitude stank.
I agree. Now, but when it came to getting us over the line, he's just not good enough. All right? Son, left wing back. We've done it. Right. Now, I am not a fan of people coming back. I am, as you know, and I've said it a million times, I'm a nostalgist. I'm not a sentimentalist. And our fan base, we have so many sentimentalists, it's ridiculous. Bring them back, bring them back. Well, what have they got? What's their talent and skills to bring them back? Oh, no, we love them. Well, that doesn't work, right? But in the context now of where we are, right? You've convinced me of this, by the way, now. If I look at David Moyes, Everton were in the absolute stuck. They needed to stay in the Premier League to go into their new stadium. I think Moyes has probably got one more year next year, and then the freaking group will decide, well, it's time to move him on, right?
Might only get to the end of this season, Dave. It's starting to slow down from a bit now, isn't it?
Yeah. And so, but the fact of the matter is, if you got Poch in now, he would want, and if you got any decent manager in now, they would want to have a director of football they can work with. And that is not Langer.
No.
Right? And then he's also going to want to have a situation where, at the end of the day, he will want to be, he will have assurances that of what he gets is what he wants, right? I mean, the ironic thing is that Frank came in and he got most of his staff, didn't he? He brought a drop. Yeah. And it's made no difference. I mean, Justin Cochran came in with a great reputation as a coach. I haven't seen one player improved since they started. Not one. Yeah? No. Not one player. So where we are now, if we can't get Poch in, if he goes to Zerbi, forget about Poch.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If we get an interim and we get relegated, then we're going to really see if Poch loves us, because does he want to manage in the Championship?
Yeah. Dave, that's what I was trying to say. All this, where we've let ourselves get to, the ideal situations are unlikely, aren't they? Like, that's the ideal situation is you go to Poch and you offer the money to get him out and you get him there and you say, let's crack on. Unlikely. I don't think he'd probably want to leave America, the USA, before he's took them into the World Cup. But I just look at it, and when you're looking at interims, I'm with, and also not just the interims, and this isn't like sticking up for Frank, but we have a lot of injuries, so it's going to be difficult for whoever comes in. And not just that, the whole thing. So we need someone who just sort of takes us, can get us out of trouble. I think if you've got a top coach, the best coach you possibly could get in, Palace at home, Forest at home, Leeds at home, Brighton at home, and Everton at home, we can get enough points out of that to keep us up. But that's what we need to do. And I'm not sure if someone like Heitinger will do that. But like I said, the getting Poch in seems unlikely. I really, really, usually in your head you have a scenario, what you think is going to happen and what the right thing is. It's just like, I think Poch is the right guy to get back now, but we're not going to be able to get him to the summer. And then I worry that if we have an interim, I think it will just carry on as it is. And I've just got a feeling we'll go down if that does, if that's the situation. What other alternatives do you think there are out there, Dave? Do you think there are other alternatives that are realistic? Because the swell's for Poch, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that they could turn around to Poch and go, we'll pay the 16 million. You got to come now.
Yeah.
But I am not a conspiracy theorist, to be very clear.
Yeah.
But then you are starting to play with a little bit of, Trump, as we know, is mad, and Trump is ignorant. And to have the USA manager walk out before the World Cup and he's big mates with Infantino, that could give us a bit of problems down the line. That's all I'm going to say. So I think you got to think about that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, I am not. To be clear, Elvis is dead. Okay.
Yeah. Ultimately, though, Dave,
But you look at alternatives at the moment, right? Do you get someone who is coaching the kids at the moment, right? You get someone who's coaching the kids. Let's go through the alternatives. From an interim point of view, you got Heitinger, whose agent said he knows what he's getting them in for, which I thought was good. You got Cochrane, that lot.
Bless you, Dave.
Thank you. You've got Cochrane. I just think that they haven't proved one player. So what makes me think that they're going to get that sorted?
Their thing was, when you look back now, we said this in hindsight, didn't we? It was the environment which elevated them as coaches.
Yeah.
Tottenham don't have that environment.
And then you look at who's out of work at the moment. Who's out of work? Well, it's De Zerbi.
Well, De Zerbi from last night, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it, really, isn't it? I mean, like Alonso, this Xavi Hernandez who people talk about, Ange Postecoglou. Yeah. I mean, I think it is slim pickings, and like if you wait till after the World Cup. But I can't see a Tuchel coming to Spurs. I can't see a Nagelsmann coming to Spurs. I can't see an Ancelotti coming to Spurs.
No.
I genuinely can't, Dave. And like this, I mean, what happened when Poch first came? Like you said, but he was struggling, and then he ripped it all up. And I think we're at that point now where I think we've got to take honest stock, get a manager in, and like some of these players that we say are. I don't think we should. I don't think this group of players are anywhere near where they should, but they're not anywhere near where people think they are. Like top four, barely fucking Europa League standard. Do you know what I mean? And
they're Europa League standard from the point of view they won the Europa League.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that they won it. No, but I'm talking about in those positions in the league.
If you looked at that squad, yeah, I would say that we're about a 10th position squad.
We are mid-table. That is a mid-table squad.
Yeah. And
what I want to say is, like, and I'm going to use Dominic Solanke as a I like Dominic Solanke. I think he's an honest, hard-working centre forward. He's got some decent touches. He works hard. He can score a few goals.
Yeah.
But when I look at Dominic Solanke and I take my Tottenham goals off, I see a mid-table player.
Yeah, he is.
And there's other players like I think Tau is a bright prospect, but I think eventually he'll end up playing for like a Nice or maybe a Lille, or he might. Do you know what I mean? And Odegaard, even though he's come on a bit, I think he looks better than he is because he's been playing with such a load of shit. Like the forwards at Spurs are crap. I think Sarr is a real honest player, but he just gets around the pitch. That's his. Do you know what I mean? He's not great. And I think Romero, for all his faults, is a really, really good footballer, but there's something not right there. I think Van der Ven's top quality. I don't think Spence is anywhere near as good as people make him out to be. I think he's how we've been playing. If he's performing in that team, I think he's probably he's a mid-table player. I think we all raved about him because we were starting to play poorly and he come in and he looked all right. I think Porro can be a lot better than he has been.
Yeah.
I think Gallagher, maybe technically not what people want him to be, but I think as a personality and as an engine, I think and he could probably add some more goals to the team. I think he will do well. Gray, and I think Archie Gray's a young kid, but I just think he's steady. And if your team's playing well and you've got him in your squad and you can drop him in, you'll be thinking he's brilliant because he can play anywhere. He can turn his hand to anything and he's a good player. But I think if he's in your team week in, week out, I think he's just a steady Eddie.
Well, he's
and
18.
I think we've got to stop. And I think there's been a lot of straw. Obviously, we'll have the straw clutching with Xavi Simons. He's a good player. He is a good player, but that is all he is. He's a good player. The whole thing needs ripping up. The whole thing needs ripping up and starting again. And actually, if we're going to buy some good players and we're going to say that they're quality, let's hope that make sure they are quality. We do not have enough quality in that team. With all the injuries back, Kulusevski, yes. Maddison for a third of the season, yes. The rest of it.
Yeah, I agree. But I think, it could be a very different proposition when we're looking at a squad for the championship. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
And we're gonna. I think we've got about another 7 minutes to go. So
Yeah.
we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that today. But if we get relegated, and you have to look at that squad, and you work out who is actually going to stay, who is actually going to go, and who do we need to get in? And this is as awful as it sounds. And I can't believe I'm saying these words, to get us out the championship. Yeah?
Yeah.
We don't need to worry about playing European. I was working it out today. If we get relegated, the first time that we could be back playing European football is probably about 3 years' time. Because we ain't going to win the Carabao or the FA Cup from the Championship.
No, I mean, we were going to do a show tonight, weren't we? Saying about a championship team. Obviously, bigger news came up.
No. But what I'm saying to you is this, is that let's say we stay up, and I'm not sure we will. I'm really, we talk about we've got Brighton, Leeds, Palace, Forest at home. They've been in relegation scraps before. They know how to scrap at this stage of the season. We don't. And frankly, we've got very few players who've got the minerals for it, frankly. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So let's say that we do stay up. And we did the transfer committee last summer, and the joke is that I would sell probably 60 to 70% of that squad if I could. I really would. And I wouldn't be, I would not be shedding a tear for Romero going. I just think, what makes me laugh about this fan base and Romero is that people like going, isn't it great that he stood up against the owners? Isn't it great? He's the club captain. He is the club captain. And whether that was a straight red or not, and that referee, I cannot stand Michael Oliver. He's so anti-Tottenham. And he's sent off Romero for a straight red twice now, right? But going in for a tackle like that at Man United away, when we got back into the game, it's slippery conditions, it's 0-0, and for him to make a challenge like that he doesn't have game intelligence from that regard. And everyone, and I mean everyone, craps on about him at Bilbao. He's a winner. You know why he's a winner? Because he turned up to that game, he turned up to the semi-final, and probably the quarterfinals going, yeah, I think there's a trophy on the line here. I'll focus my efforts. And the rest of the time, I don't think he's done more than 30 games in the season for us. And the way that this fan base is just simping for him forever and a day is ridiculous. So he can go.
It's because it's because Dave, and I get where you're coming from. It's like because it's just clutching on to something positive. Do you know what I mean? Like when things were good, if a player came out and did that because he'd been dropped or something silly when we were playing well and everything was going well and the fans were behind the manager, you wouldn't have that. It's because of the state of where the club is. He's brilliant. He's a brilliant player. And it's like, that's like me with like Xavi. I'm just like, he's good.
Yeah.
But that's what happens, mate. That's where we are.
Yeah. So at the end of all of this, we've talked for about an hour, and I would say we are no wiser than when we started this conversation.
No, we're no wiser than when we started, and I'm sure come Monday when we're meant to know what's going on, we'll have plenty to say about that. And it'll roll on now, Dave, and I'm pretty sure that I've got no faith that they will make the right decision, as I should imagine neither do you or anybody in this chat.
No faith whatsoever. But so how many viewers we got now?
We've had 21, Dave. Obviously there'll be some big shows on tonight, won't there? So we'll get another few hundred on catch up when they watch the rest, when they've watched all the big boys. But
I need to sort my Wi-Fi out because this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
And also, I think we're going to be back we're back next Thursday night. So, ladies and gentlemen, our loyal viewers, we could pretend that we've done the show tonight because we are on the pulse of things. But the reason why we're doing it is because there is a birthday in the Gibbo family this week, and there's a birthday dinner. So, happy birthday to your daughter.
Yeah.
And we can. So, I mean, I might as well. But let's not take the piss here. We can't pretend we're on the pulse of this. We just moved it tonight for personal reasons.
And just by chance, we've happened to hit on a day when there's been a little bit going on. But yeah, everyone, thanks for being in the chat. Thanks for getting involved. Sorry for our technical issues, but it just all adds to the charm of the show, doesn't it, Dave? And no matter what happens, Dave, no matter how shit it is, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.